It's too early.
It's never too early, man. Just get the mics ready,
it's
man.
too early.
What we're about to talk about is crucial.
Hell of an intro. I tell you what you info, but I never really been the type of dude to give no info. But if you see your ends low and you trying to get a benzo, I'll give your ass some game that'll change the way that you think, bro. Super skilled with the pencil, super ill in my mental. I reminisce on life, I'm nice, here's my memento. Get it through your tempo, I get on any tempo and give it all I got. I'm hot, I got like 10 flows, trying to live on the 10th floor. Across from residentials that I own, my mind stay grown. I used to think clothes, I really used to think hoes and what I do to get those, and then I switched it up.
I was just saying though, it's important of what we're even doing right now, and how we're going about it. Right, we're finding individuals that we already know that can fill that gap, that essentially what we're looking for. Like, for instance, the music, the intro and outro. That's a good friend of ours.
Shout out to Leon.
Facts. Leon Noir. I think I'm mispronouncing that. Go follow him on Instagram. Go follow him on SoundCloud. Go run the streams up for him, because essentially, like, that's what, at least what we're doing here. It's finding individuals that, can fill that void, that gap that we're trying to fill within ourselves to help us on this journey. Again, we said it before.
But that's what I was saying the other day. It's like you have to use the resources that you have accessible to you. Instead of, trying to jump hurdles, seeking things that you don't have access to right now, use what you have in front of you. Mm-hmm. Because that's the easiest way to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish.
Right. Yeah. It's about, and think about it like this, right? And there's a great book out there, Who Not How. Oh my gosh, phenomenal. That book right there will change a lot of individuals, just the perspective of how you're looking about doing certain things. Instead of thinking about, because I know for myself, I always think about how am I going to do something rather than who can help me do something. And I don't know why. I just do it. It's just who I am. I guess that's just always how it's been for myself. But if you think more or less, hey, who's going to help me do this? You'll find those resources around you all the time. It's just you got to put in your mind first who, not how you're going to do something. So when you're faced with a problem and you're like, how are you going to do it? Change the word. Take the word how out completely and just say, who's going to help me accomplish that issue, that whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. But yeah, no, I think it's powerful, the fact that, we have individuals around us that, again, support us and, do certain things. And if you don't have anybody that, is doing something, reach out to your friends. They may know somebody. Reach out to their friends, get into their network, and they may know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that you could potentially support along your journey and get to wherever it is you're trying to get to.
Yeah, you share your ideas. That's the only way you're going to be able to find people that can help you with that. If you sit on that, and try to nurture it on your own, yes, it's possible to get it done, but it's easier if you're able to find people that can help you navigate through that journey, and take some burden off your shoulders.
And for all you might come across the same situation we came across, right? I personally was thinking of starting a podcast. Francis was getting told, hey, start a podcast. I had to share the idea for him to be like, yeah, let's do it. If I didn't say anything, I don't know if this would be here today, to be honest with you.
Probably not. I'll probably be sleeping somewhere right now.
This guy said sleeping.
Yeah, man.
It's Sunday.
It's good for the soul.
Oopsie daisy.
It's good for the soul.
Football Sunday. Come on, man.
Nobody cares about football.
Speak for those. Speak for yourself. Don't speak for the rest. I'll tell you that right now, because you'll probably have a lot of people in your DMs after this one.
Sure. But football is always going to be there. What about your life?
God damn, bro. Why you got to take it there?
Nah, just facts, though. Time is passing by. Those people realize that, what they're good at, and they're doing it. What are you doing with your time? They're making money off of their craft. And yes, you're entertained by it, which is cool, but what about your own time? Time is valuable. We don't have a lot of it, to use it wisely. I was just talking about going to sleep, right?
That's crazy. Yeah. Man. Well, yeah. That's it. Just a quick. I really think it's important that, the people that are already around you, you support them in any way, in any form or fashion that you can. Because if you're supporting them, somebody's going to pop. Somebody is. And once that one person pops, you guys are all gonna pop with that person. Like it's a domino effect, But it starts with one person to start it, right? Start building those blocks.
Well, the key's not really to worry about popping with that individual. It's just being of service to that person, whoever it is. And that's where you find the beauty in whatever you're doing, by being of service to others, whatever that is. Because the minute you start to do it to pop or to gain something out of it, you basically are expecting something in return.
Well, I think we all do everything we do for something. Like, I know, yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't pop being anything. Like, just pop being, hey, the one person, you were able to change that one person's life. Like, I think we do everything for something. I know, for instance, like this podcast, we're really doing it to help change, and not even change, but help other individuals that, are seeking for some sort of guidance or help in whatever field that you're in. So I think you're always going to be seeking for something, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, hey, let's pop.
As long as that something is not for your own gratification, then yes.
That's fair. No, I agree 100% on that one. What do they say? And my man Trey would love this one. You got to enrich. No. I'm going to mispronounce this. Hold on. Let me get it right.
Trey, get him.
No, he's not going to get me. Actually, our mentor says this a lot too. He says, in order for you to get rich, you have to enrich others. So you essentially can't get everything and anything you want without helping and enriching and just essentially enriching, helping others. In order for you to get what you want, you got to enrich others. And then there's another one, Zig Ziglar. If whatever you want, help enough people get what they want, and then you eventually get what you want. I butchered that quote, but that's pretty much another one.
You are butchering everything right now.
And that's fine.
Have you been drinking?
I have not. I don't drink on Sundays. I drink water. That's it.
Sure.
It's Sunday. I told you that, man.
I actually have a question for you.
Let's hear it.
At what point would you say that, okay, this podcast has been successful for you? Like, what will make you say, okay, I've done what I really needed to do? And I think it's important to know that as you're starting. So that's why I'm asking, like, what will make you say, okay, yeah, I was successful at it?
I think for myself, it would really be being able to reach people that I have never been able to reach before. And I'm not talking on a local standpoint, more on a global standpoint, to the point where, people reaching out, seeking for guidance, and I'm able to speak to them. More or less, a lot of people don't know who I am now, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not okay. I don't really want to be in the front of the spotlight, and be in front of a bunch of other things, right? But it's more or less just being able to reach an enormous amount of people without physically having to be there right in front of them. I think that was mine.
Okay. So you're saying, I don't think I fully get it.
Okay, if you don't fully get it, then let me go down there again. It's what I look at, how I see this podcast as being successful is being able to not only help, right? Because yes, I think this podcast. Well, I know this podcast will help other individuals, right? But I wanted to be able to reach other individuals outside of my sphere, outside of the people that I share this podcast with. I want this truly indeed to be a podcast where people are like tuned into and listening and actually taking the knowledge and taking what's being said and applying it and being able to kind of come back to me or whoever and just be able to make a difference in this world. Because again, if I'm able to reach people through my words, those words will be able to change somebody else, right? So it's more or less, hey, there's not a set number in mind, absolutely not, of what would make me say, hey, this podcast was a success. It's more or less if I'm able to just reach the masses.
I get it. Okay. So you're more focused towards impacting a larger audience.
That's what I do everything for. You got to start somewhere though. So that's the goal with anything that I really do. It's how am I going to change first, of course, my sphere, my circle, my family, my friends, whatever. And then how do we grow bigger from there and be able to go ahead and reach the masses so that they can get the word, the good word or whatever.
Do you think it's easier to impact someone that you don't know than to impact your own friends?
Yes and no. I think it goes back to mindset. It goes back to, what do you really want for yourself? I think it also goes back to, just how were your experiences and just.
So based off of your experience, like the people that you've been around, like, and compared to people that you just came across and had conversation with, like, what would you say has worked in a way that, like, where you can see result? Okay, this person actually got the concept and they're working with it, compared to, between friends and people that you don't know.
I've seen it on both spectrums. I think people who don't personally know you and know your past will take kind of what you say into consideration a little bit more than the individuals that know you. And I think that's part of the reason, because most people that already know you, they know where you come from, right? So they know a little bit about your past. So it's kind of hard for them to envision, what you're trying to preach or what you're trying to say to help them get to wherever they're trying to get to. And it's just, again, that mindset and that vision of who you were, that's what they remember. And so trying to paint a vision for somebody, that's always difficult. It's always, especially if you're trying to paint a vision for somebody and they have no idea what you're talking about, what you're trying to do for them, or even for yourself. I don't know what the case or the scenario may be, but it's hard to paint a vision for someone. That's why when you're trying to paint a vision for someone, you truly indeed have to sit them down and literally talk about it. It's not something that, and this is anything, right? Whenever you have an idea, you literally have to sit people down and talk to them to get them to see your vision, because it's your vision.
But based on experience, like based on the things that I've experienced, you cannot see someone else's vision through. You can understand it to a certain extent, but you can't see it through. It's very hard. Like, for example, there are things that we've talked about where I'm like, I'm trying to do this and this and this. You have an idea of what I'm trying to do, but you don't have, the full picture of what the end result of what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So I think trying to convince someone of your vision, it's not a good way. Rather, I think the most important thing is to help them see their own vision. To have, clear, I guess the best way to put it is to clean the mirror for them, so they can see what's in front of them.
Yeah, but it's tough to clear the mirror for them if your mirror isn't completely clear.
True, that's why you always have to work on yourself first.
Right. So, but that's the problem, though. That's not the problem. That's the difficulty in it, right? How are you? You're trying to give a vision to somebody, and all they can remember is your dirty mirror. So it makes it difficult to try to clear somebody else's mirror. It may be clear to you, but it's not clear to the person, right? Because they don't see. They may not see exactly what you see. So that's where I think, just trying to bring it back to the question you asked me, which is it easier to help people that you already know compared to those that you just meet? I think it's easier I think it's 50-50. It depends on the person. But I would more or less say it's individuals that you have just recently met, because they have nothing to judge you off of. And that, I truly think that's what it really comes down to. It's just not having anything to really say, you were this person in the past,
So I guess my problem with that is the fact that you have to be judged to begin with.
That's the world we live in, man. I don't make the rules. I don't. People are people, man. Everyone gets judged one way or another.
Who suffers in that? The person who's judging, or I guess, the person who's judging.
Yeah, because you're
still gonna be you regardless of how people.
Yeah. Like think about even the good old saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Bro, I still do it to this day.
I read a book recently. It's called literally How to Read a Book. And it talks.
You dive deep into this.
I read a book it talks about how to read a book. So it basically tells you, best way to skim through a book so you know if this is a book worth reading. And the reason why I actually got that book is because at the end of it tells you some of the books that are worth reading. There's like there's like more than 5 pages of just books that you should probably read.
That's a lot.
But then I actually read the book, and it was pretty interesting to see that there's multiple ways to actually read a book. And when you walk into a library, you should be able to skim this book, within a minute or two and say, okay, I actually want to read this book. So don't judge the book.
Do you know the name of the book by any chance?
How to Read a Book.
By who? You did say that.
I can.
But it's just so mind blowing.
I can't. I have it. I'll show you at the end. I can't remember the author, but yes, it's a good book. It's pretty long, but it's a good book.
Interesting. How to read a book. I would never think that anybody would make a book.
It's an
like
older
that.
book. I think it's like it was written. Yes, that's the one.
Interesting.
I think it was written. Yeah, 1972. You know I'm an old soul, so I read old book. 1940 actually.
Yeah, 1940, and I guess they revised it in 1972.
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
I'm weird. I read interesting books.
I think that's really how you understand what book that you even want to read. I mean, even if you're a book reader or not, like I typically read my books off of recommendations from others that I follow, listen to, and I respect, right? Because if they have accomplished something I'm already trying to accomplish, and they've read this book, then that has had to help them in some sort of form or way. So I'm gonna tap into the book to see what I can get out of it. Because they got something out of it, which is why they're recommending it to others.
One thing the book recommends is to read a book for the first time without interruption. Just read it, because the first time you read, you're gonna get something out of it, and if you feel as though you're still missing something, you can come back to it a second time. Again, that's playing with your time, but it highly recommend reading the book
you're saying
the first time without any interruption. Don't stop. Don't highlight anything. Just read it through.
So you're saying. You walk into Barnes and Noble. You're telling a person to read the book on site.
No. When you walk into Barnes and Noble, you want to be able to skim through the book. So read the front, the back. Read a few pages in the book to make sure, okay, this is actually a concept that I want to read. And then if you do decide that this is the book you want to get, when you take it home. The first time you read it, just read it through. Don't try to stop and understand the concept. Just read it through. And if you feel as though you got most of it the first time around, cool. But if you feel as though there's more concept that you want to grasp, then you go back and you then at that point you can say, okay, I want to highlight it. There's so many levels of reading, and it's interesting. That's why I was like, whoa, that's actually a pretty good book. I thought it was going to be boring, obviously, 1940, but it was actually a pretty good book.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I go through my books. I guess this is something I could implement next year.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
This is not even next year. It's probably right now. It's different.
Yeah. How did we even get to this?
I don't know, but that's a good thing.
So what were we doing right now? We were actually editing the previous episode. And all of a sudden, you started recording another episode. We're not even done editing.
Yeah, it always happens that way, though. There's always something that comes up in between what you're trying to do. It's all a distraction. But, once you get yourself right back on path and what you're trying to do, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's why it's important to know where you're going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's important to know the end result.
Look, and
be able to
I'm not even
visualize
sitting
that.
in my chair, so this feels a little bit uncomfortable right now. I'm kind of wishing I was where I was supposed to be. But, hey, adapt and adjust.
Dude. Stop complaining.
I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know. Hey, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I'm still here, right? I'm still speaking, right?
Sure.
Still dropping the gems, right?
You're not drinking tea today?
Nah, not today. It's water. It's water.
Cause I know the life I want. I'm just setting it up. Removing those that's close who try messing it up. Can't wait for champagne toast with the relevant bunch. Like, what's up? Yeah. Like, what you do, homie? What's your vision? How you thinking? How you move, homie? And is you cool, homie? You thinking building, then that's something we could do, homie.